what inspired you to start the podcasts, and how has your vision for it evolved over the time from the start until now?
Yeah, so I think I've mentioned this a few times before, but in lockdown, I remember speaking to my friend Luke, and he hated his job. He was working at Aldi, and I was like, oh, mate, well, what would you do? Or if you didn't have to work, or you didn't have to worry about money. And he said, oh, I just love podcasts.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, decent. Right. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast Chatzzz. And this is a very, very special episode. I don't always say special guest, but this is a very special guest and a very special episode.
Super special guest.
Because this is Chatzzz episode 100.
Yo!
Which is absolutely crazy to
Unreal.
think. I don't know if you can see the cake here.
Can't miss it.
Yeah.
Can't miss.
So we went and bought a cake and put the number 100 on it.
Well, we had a cake made for us
Yes.
by Stainsbury's Bakery.
By Cadbury's. Which is pretty crazy to think 100, and had to invite my most recurring guest.
By request.
Back on the podcast.
Requested.
And we were speaking earlier, you've been in 5% of the episodes.
That's pretty cool. I'm basically 5% of the process. I feel very honoured, as always, for, again, to be requested to come back. And yeah, mate, 100. That's mental, mate. Proud.
Yeah.
Proud moment.
I think the first episode I posted was December 2021.
Yeah.
Which I actually recorded the first episodes in summer of 2021 with Luke. And
Shout out, Lukey.
Yeah, and me and him went travelling for like 4 months around Europe.
Yeah.
And then I'd never like uploaded it or sent it to Phil or whatever. Yeah. And then when it got round to it, it was like 2021. And then I remember when I first started, I was posting one episode every other week.
I was going to say it's every 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, with a guest.
Yeah.
And then I had...
in the back garden somewhere? Or in a couple... It was in Luke's back
garden. Yeah. And so I was doing, on YouTube, I was doing one guest episode, then one vlog.
Yeah.
That was in my prime blogging days.
You were full-time influencer.
Yeah. People used to love them, but I do need to get back.
I used to love them.
Yeah. And then I was doing one audio-only episode. So one guest and one audio-only.
Story time with ads.
Yeah. And then it was 2023. I committed to doing one guest base every single week.
Yeah.
And then last year I did that 52 episodes in the year, which is crazy good.
Solid. It's a good shift.
Yeah.
It's not easy. We make it look good, but it's not easy.
And then this year I've been slacking. I think I missed like 2-3 weeks because I've been busy. But yeah, it's been
made it. 100 episodes.
It's been a journey. So yeah, we said that you get such ideas, didn't you?
Yeah, I had loads of ideas.
What you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I don't really have any ideas. I'm just kind of free flowing it.
Yeah, I mean, for everybody listening, watching, especially now that I've been on so many times, but you guys kind of know how the chats with me and Adam kind of works. It's a bit free flow, but yeah, I have to kind of put a little bit more thought than normal into this one. Just watch, he's getting nervous now. It's like, what's he going to throw here? I'm not prepared. Especially for the 100th episode, it's such a good achievement in terms of the effort and time put in. And also, I think as well for you, like, it's such a good way for you to have conversations with even the people you know, but have conversations with them that you'd probably never normally have. And I think we've spoken about this a lot, just from obviously coming on the podcast and different people you've had on and stuff. So I think it's just, it's a super cool way for you to connect with people better, and then also helps you in doing what you're doing as well. So yeah,
because I look back and on YouTube. So I changed my YouTube channel. Originally was just Adam Roberts or Ad Roberts something, and then I changed it 2023 to Chatzzz.
Is that because you were getting too much fame from TikTok?
Mate, obviously, yeah.
Undercover.
So I was getting two
Stage
things, clearly. And
the dating guru.
Yeah, like, to be fair, the views have gone down since I stopped posting my blog, because I feel like people are watching the blogs more than the podcast
all about
secondary.
the blogs.
But I feel like the quality of the viewers is still quite high.
Yeah.
And say, like, even when I look back, so here, was that on YouTube? Yeah, these are all unlisted, to be fair. Because, like, one of my longest clients, Stephen Jobson, he was episode number 13.
Yeah.
And that's before he'd even signed as a client. And that was like the first time for me, I thought, oh, I can actually do podcasts with strangers and people that I've never met before.
Yeah.
Because beforehand I was like,
It's kind of closer circle and
bit nervous.
Yeah.
A bit nervous, like, I couldn't ask like a stranger and talk to them for an hour, that kind of thing. Because I remember when I did my first one with Ellis, but in Cardiff, he's like owns his own studio.
Yeah.
And I hadn't had like a structure or a plan. And then I didn't really know what I was doing. So I recorded it. And then Charlie Bat came on to another one. And the one with Ellis deleted. So that never got posted. But we recorded one after, which is good. But yeah, I just think like, say 1, 2, 3, 4. What number were you? Like, just thinking back to that first one, me and you here. This is one of the most, I think it's the second most viewed one I've ever done. Episode 14.
I was going to say, must have been 14 or 15. Yeah.
2 years ago.
Please don't say that Kay Berry is the most viewed above me, because I'll be wounded.
It's Adrian Kirkbride in Aspatia. He's got his own company. He's got like 2,700 or something. Yours is like near 2,500 now.
Adrian, mate, I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
Okay, just watch this one 200 times, please.
But yeah, that's what I mean. So we recorded this was posted.
Yeah, this
12th of June 2022.
2022, yeah.
So you just think
pretty much. Well, what day is it today? 13th of June, 14th. Maybe 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. Shit.
Just over 2 years ago. That was posted. Obviously,
yeah, of course. But like,
yeah. And just think how much has changed in that 2 years.
Honestly, I think for anyone watching now, like go back and check up the setup that we had for that first podcast we did together.
Yeah.
And I think we've told the story of it before, so we don't want to go over it again. But hectic day, technical difficulties to say the least, and just the setup was on the balcony you were staying in the apartment. Actually, came out, the actual like quality came out really well.
Yeah,
we literally had like a GoPro balancing off a clothes hanger on a washing line just to get the angle. So just to think now that we were just like we had, I think, a dinner reservation. We were going to be late. We were getting cancelled. Yeah, they were going to charge me like €200 because we were late. And it's just chaos. But to think like that was back then, and now obviously seeing the growth of the podcast, like the tech's a bit more professional now, slightly.
Yeah.
Hit and miss.
Yeah.
But no, it's mad, mate. 2 years.
Yeah. And then when was the next one? Because obviously the most recurring guest you've been on a few times.
And that would have been, June 2022.
So then the next time
would have been.
I think the next time wasn't for a while, you know.
Yeah, it would either be.
Where is it? So yeah, Adrian's has got 3,000. So I think yours, about 500 behind. Not too far behind though. What's the next one?
I almost want to say October. I don't know if it was the same year.
There's your. Oh, here we go. So I think this next one was 6 months ago, was it? Was that the second one? 26th of November last year.
Yeah.
26th of November.
Mate, so year apart on the first podcasts.
Well, longer than a year, isn't it?
More.
June to November, yeah. That's like a year and a half.
Yeah.
So that was that one. And then what was after?
Yeah, because
quick succession.
Maybe because the first one, I was still working at the first company I worked for.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And then the second one, I was at the company that I set up with business partners.
Yeah.
And then third one, it's all me. Yeah, that's mad just in my time scale. Like,
yeah, that's what I mean. You look back at the moments, and if you listen to them back, you think, I was in a completely different mindset
100%
than that. And then, so that one was that one, and then the one before was...
Yeah, because I think we would have done...
That was New Year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So 14th of January this year.
So it would have been
they were quite
June 2022, then November 2023, like Christmas time, 2023.
Yeah.
Then we hit that one after that was back at your house.
Yeah.
And now we're here in your new house.
Yeah, exactly. It's great.
Hey, the journey. It's been emotional.
Literally. So this one was...
like little flashbacks.
Yeah, that was November. Yeah, November. And then it was January. And then it was... Yeah, the last one was... There you go. Yeah, because it was you back for your birthday, right?
Yeah.
I posted that 24th of March, yeah.
Yeah. Mate, what timeline?
From Mrs. Junior. You've been every other month.
I've stepped up the game that after that 18-month. Because to be fair, you had over a year to get quality on, and the people just said, look, you know what, we need him back.
Get him on.
To be fair, it's actually quite a good. So I remember doing the second one, I was a little bit nervous because a lot had changed.
Yeah,
like a lot had changed. I was quite nervous in terms of just sharing too much because it'd been quite a hectic change with lifestyle, work, everything. So I think I was quite nervous actually for that one of just what I wanted to say, what I didn't want to say, and I didn't want to put anyone in a bad light, but also at the same time I'm very direct and honest with how I am. So I remember that one. I was quite like on edge.
Yeah, I do remember. It was a funny time.
You had to dig into me with the questions a bit more than normal.
So what I've done was I've messaged a few people and got them to ask some questions. I've sent you these questions as well.
Yeah.
I got just 10 people and got 10 different questions. I think most of them are decent. Some of them aren't as good.
Should I lead the way and ask you?
Yeah, you go for it.
Roll reverse.
Yeah,
I'll host for 3 minutes just to rate up the views. I'm not going to do them in the order that you sent me because, put you on.
Throw me off.
All right, let's go in here.
Yeah, we're currently sat in my living room with my new sofa.
New sofa, new house.
Yeah, I recorded 2 podcasts in here, to be fair, but these with my old sofa that came with the house, so this is definitely a lot better.
All right, I'll start with try and do it in a sensible order.
Okay.
So from one of the viewers, listeners, legends who follow the Chatzzz story. You ready?
No, but go over it.
Sweat started already. So obviously Chatzzz 100 episodes. What inspired you to start the podcasts, and how has your vision for it evolved over the time from the start until now?
Yeah, so I think I've mentioned this a few times before, but in lockdown, I remember speaking to my friend Luke, and he hated his job. He was working at Aldi, and I was like, oh, mate, well, what would you do? Or if you didn't have to work or you didn't have to worry about money? And he said, oh, I just love podcasts.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, decent. So he's like, oh, should we start a podcast? So I was like, oh, I can't really be bothered to buy all the equipment.
Yeah.
So we started doing, remember the app Clubhouse? Oh, you did a Clubhouse.
I was going to say, actually, that brought me just way back. Yeah, you guys started in Clubhouse. I think I came on for one for like an hour or something, mad, with a few different people.
Yeah, because
it was you, Luke, and
a guest normally.
Yeah.
So that was like, we do that every Saturday or something.
Yeah,
it was lockdown.
Yeah, it was every Saturday, like 11 p.m. or something.
Yeah.
Super late.
Yeah.
To like stay up and be in bed.
And so then we did that for however long. And then I bought all the gear. And then did 2 with Luke. And then I was going to do like 1 with Luke, 1 with a guest, 1 with Luke, 1 with a guest. But just, I don't know. I don't think Luke was that bothered maybe or whatever. Or we just kind of like lost interest and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's like anything that whenever you start something new, it's all exciting, all buzzing. And then when you sort of go from, oh, we'll just do a one-off to then actually this is something I want to do consistently, then it turns into a bit more time, a bit more energy. And, it's not always there to put it in. So
yeah, I'll have to get him back on at some point. You just listen to some episodes. I'll just headbutt myself. But yeah, so like I was saying just earlier, is I was really being like comfortable with the guests. So I was doing like friends that maybe had like things going on.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was really until episode after you, when I did Stephen Jobson. Because I remember I just put on my Instagram story, I was like, who wants to be a guest on the podcast or any recommendations?
Yeah.
And he replied to my Instagram story. And I'd messaged him or seen him once talk about marketing before. And it's anyone, if you talk about marketing, a bit like dubious and better on like,
yeah, because it's so broad and vague.
Scam or whatever. And I did one with him and really enjoyed it. And it was quite interesting. And then ended up signing him as a client and still now. And after that, got a bit more confident in doing it because that was maybe like 14 episodes. I'd done it with like people I knew or whatever. And then, so it went from just like a bit fun, laugh and joke. And I remember the end of the podcast was like best relationship advice or something.
Yeah.
Have you something?
We did. I think I skipped it at the time.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Something like that.
Yeah.
At the time, my TikTok was really big and that was like relationship type stuff. And when I started doing more business owners and just asking them, I was like, this is definitely not good crack.
Yeah, or not that it wasn't good crack, but I think as your guests developed into that field, it's like, okay, you maybe spoken business and they're doing everything. So to be like, oh, what's your dating advice to like, a married bloke who's got a company? It's like, well, rolling back the years, mate, but 20 years ago.
But yeah, it went from like when I first started not having a plan to then evolving into like more like 3 facts about yourself. Obviously not with you because I've done it a million times. And then 20 minutes-ish or starting off what was like growing up, first memories or like a kid, just what they wanted to be when they were older. Yeah. And then how it came about for them to start their business journey or whatever. And then the end now is biggest mistake or biggest regret, which I think I'm maybe going to change because a lot of people just say, oh, no mistakes, it's just all lessons, which is fine, but it's not good for the podcast.
Yeah.
And then
rephrase it as to what's been the most negative impact you've had.
Or the biggest lesson learned. I don't know. I need to have a think. And then the greatest strength and greatest weakness.
Yeah.
Which is quite a good one.
Yeah.
But then some people say the weakness is the strength and the strength is the weakness. Whatever.
Yeah, take the question.
But yeah, just having more structure and just more flow and just getting to know them as a person and stuff. So Yeah, it's changed a lot now, and I've gotten more lazy with it this year because I've been busy with work, which I was saying.
I think I wouldn't, again, just from outside looking in, I know how your business and work is progressing. So I think I wouldn't say that it's been laziness, but I think when you're juggling multiple plates at a time, your energy's gone to where it's been needed. And it's not taken away from the podcast, but it's just meant you've not had as many episodes going out.
Yeah. But the thing is that I think in my own head, and I'm probably a bit too hard on myself, is this is what got me to where I am now.
Yeah.
So like, if I stop doing that, do I stop
Is it gonna end
momentum?
up? Yeah, exactly.
So like, me doing more recurring guests this year.
Always tech difficulties. To be fair, I don't think we've had a podcast together of all 5 now, or 5% of chats that I've contributed to where we've not had
Something go wrong.
some kind of, and it goes from minor to major. That's easy fixtures now, but we've always had.
There's that one time over Christmas when I got my new laptop and it wouldn't work on it or something.
It's painful.
Fucking nightmare.
It's painful.
So I do it the next day.
It's painful. You know, I get a bit ratty when we have to like do things last minute. I like to be mellow. I like to be relaxed, so I can feel that I'm getting my best self across. And then you're like, right, it's midnight. Should we do a podcast? I'm like, I will kill you, mate.
But we were saying about the podcast.
Yeah, just what inspired you for it. I think, just to go add to that the direction that you go in now.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, so I feel like now I still need to push myself to do podcasts with people that I don't know or I want to know, that kind of thing. It's like when we went to Marbella, then 3 podcasts.
Yeah.
Amazing. Mate, that's what I want to do.
And the thing as well, I think I was only really there for the whole one with Michelle, but I think as well, again, just from knowing you and knowing the podcast and having been on a lot and listening to the ones with other guests, I think that time when you were doing it with the guys in Marbella, it was quite out the comfort zone from what you'd been doing recently. I think that you really thrived doing that, actually. I think the podcasts came across differently from what the normal kind of thing is, and it was nice to have that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like, you helped me organize them and do it logistically, and that's where I feel like I need a little bit of help now.
Yeah.
To do that, because like say, I don't want to use excuses, but like say, because I'm busy with work and stuff, it takes time, energy and effort to organize the guests, then the location, and then bring all the stuff and that kind of thing. So like, even you having that initial conversation with them and you taking me there and stuff.
I went full real estate agent mode with like 3 podcasts, 3 days. I was like, right, we're going here. Michelle's here. Lock it in. You're like, you're on it. I said, yes. I'm in full work mode. Like, bye.
Which makes my life easy, even though some of the audio fucked up. But
always technical difficulties.
But yeah, it's good. So yeah, more time.
And would you say that upon reaching 100 episodes, and obviously just saying that you feel you've dropped off, obviously the numbers, etc., just with other focuses, is the goal then? Like, do you feel that's sort of your direction where you want to take it, where right, you want to get back on the regular, more frequent podcasts and elevate that side? That's sort of where you're going with it?
Yeah, like say the frequency is still there. I've probably missed 2 or 3 weeks this year. So I don't know how many weeks it's been, but say it's like half a year. Out of 26, I've maybe missed 3. So like, still decent going.
Which again, mate, is not slacking.
But I think what I want to do is get more guests on that I...
Like no previous connection.
Yeah, no previous connection, and then tap into different networks and gain knowledge, like from a selfish point of view, from them. So say at the moment, we do a lot of watch jewelers, so like people who sell Rolexes and that kind of thing. So I would love to have somebody help me organise podcasts with more watch jewelers. So like say, if I run a shoot in Glasgow on Wednesday, doing 2 shoots in one day. So if I... Probably not Glasgow because I've got 2 clients there already, but for example, if that didn't, they'd be like, all right, well, we're there, let's stay over and organise a podcast the next day. Yeah,
that would, exactly. But, so do the shoot and then podcast and kind of double up time.
Yeah, something like that, you know what I mean? And or like whatever travel arrangements and just work it out better logistically, which I'd love to do. Like say Marbella, when I come over next, get some more podcasts locked in.
I'm going to have you 2 guests a day for 2 weeks.
And that kind of thing, is that's what helped me get clients. Because believe it or not, people who listen to this, I lose money on this podcast every single month. So don't start a podcast if you want to make
Please sponsor.
Did you hear me say to your mum earlier? She was like, so what's the plan for the podcast? Your sponsorship? So I was like, do you want to sponsor?
It's like, is that an offer? Because I'm ready to sign now. Verbal agreement.
Yeah.
So bright and beautiful Carlisle.
That kind of thing. Just have new guests on and people that I'd be interested in speaking to. You're trying to ring me there.
Yeah.
And just more of doing what I'm doing. Like, I'm not too bothered about having the biggest podcast in the world, but I am interested in expanding my network and my reach and learning selfishly from these people who are further ahead than me and implementing that in my own personal and business life, if that makes sense.
Complete sense. And I think that kind of rolls quite nice into another question from the Chatzzz followers, in the sense of how has hosting influenced your own personal and professional growth over this time, and what's one of the biggest things you've learned from either a guest or just collectively?
We speak about it, you mention it, it's actually listening to people. So when I first started doing it, not being rude, but I'd always like try and finish people's sentences.
I'm really bad for that.
So like, yeah, it's a weird thing. I don't know why people do it, but it's just human nature. I don't know if it's because you think people think you're smart because you finish a sentence like on the same wavelength.
It's like predictive, or just a bit of like, I don't know, it's just psychological.
So the power of listening, and then also just understanding everybody's so different.
Yeah.
Like so different in either if that's like upbringing or mindset or their business. Say like I could have people who've got exactly the same kind of business, but their perspective or the way they work is completely different from each other.
Yeah.
Like you both got successful businesses, but you're doing the same thing, but completely different ways.
Yeah. But both equally successful in their own way. I think it's a good highlight of there's no right or wrong way, but if you just make it your way, it's what a lot of people do well in their businesses.
And I think as well, it's like I said, selfishly, I've learned so much from these people. If you can learn from people who are further ahead than you, 5, 10 years, even a year, and then you're not going to think everything is applicable to you, or you think, oh, that wouldn't suit me, I wouldn't want to do that. But just taking a little bit of like inspiration or a little bit of, I don't know, whatever they say, and just saying, oh, I could try that. That might work for me. Or I wouldn't try that.
Yeah.
So I'll do the opposite and that kind of thing. So it's like, say if somebody's 40 years old or 50 years, been in business 10, 15 years, I think that's a lot of mistakes. So like, hopefully I can learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. If I can make one less mistake from one conversation with you, but you've had 100 podcast episodes. So if you can take one less mistake from every guest, it's 100 less mistakes, or 100 tips of what to do, or even just conversations that have stimulated to learn a bit more. Like, I think that's
and I think massive. As well, a lot of my guests have never been on a podcast before. So like for me to have them on as the first person, that's quite special. For me and them. And the conversations I've had with some of these people, you can get quite deep with them. And like if I spoke to them about marketing or social media, like post more videos, you're not going to speak about like what they were like growing up and what troubles they had, out insecurities or that kind of thing, or what struggles they had in the business journey. If you're talking about marketing, you can say business is doing great, we're smashing it. That's not really the truth, is it?
It's also, I think, one of the things that I love about being a guest on here, and it's not just because we are close friends, it's a sense of every conversation you have with the guests, it's different, but it's also very intimate. We're not asking super deep questions, but just from the flow of the podcast and how it's developed, you can really, just from sitting in and listening to some of them, you can see people just completely have a conversation they've maybe not ever had or had for a long, long time. So for them, it kind of brings up, it gets even off their chest a lot.
Feelings, And so that's the thing as well. Like you say, a lot of people do mention to me, oh, I haven't spoken about that or thought about that ever or in years. Then also some interesting conversations happen after the podcast, off
the back of that,
because they feel like
comfortable,
and connected, and you just think, oh, like you're sharing that with me an hour ago, you didn't have a fucking clue who it was.
Exactly.
It's just like quite cool. So then they'll always remember me and like, oh yeah, Adam, they want the podcast with me and that kind of thing. And then hopefully in the future, if they want to do another episode, we can. And that's why it is cool to do recurring guests, get people back on, see how they're getting on and what's changed and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think, I've learned a hell of a lot and made some really good friendships and built good relationships with people along the way.
Yeah, it's a great platform for it. All right, let's take a shift in the gear. What's been the weirdest or most unusual business you've come across, or maybe just character? You don't have to maybe name people, but just the weirdest ideas or moment from the podcast.
Weirdest business. I think,
Or maybe unique is a better way to put it.
yeah, maybe unique. Brendan Connolly. He might listen. He's an absolute legend. He's a bit crazy as well. Like, spoke to him multiple times, and he owns Coniston Slate.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because I messaged him on LinkedIn or whatever, and then Coniston's like 2.5 hours away from Carl.
Yeah, it's true.
Drove there, no signal, anything. And you drive at this massive like dirt track, and you park on the side of the road, dump the car, and you walk up, and then going through like this dusty like workshop thing, or whatever. And you go and he gives me a whole tour, and it's like, it's crazy. Like, and then sit down, and he tells me about like his journey from where he first started to where he is now. Like, he must be about 60 odd. And you just think, like, you've got some work ethic to keep on going. He's had so many ups and downs along the way. And he's just so, like, opinionated, but, like, in a lovable way. You know what I mean? When I spoke to him, about, like, marketing after and stuff, and he's a legend, and I've helped him out with some LinkedIn stuff, whatever. And it was just such, like, a different experience to, like, that I'm used to. So that was, like, a memorable one. Unique and memorable maybe is the same one. So that was a good one, probably local. Another one that I really enjoyed was when me and Kieran did one in Dubai.
Yeah.
So I went for my birthday 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah.
It's not this year, not last year, the year before.
22.
And that was cool to go over there. Like, the backdrop on that is unreal. And just like talking to him about what he was like growing up, like say about stuff that we talk about. You know, we talk about a lot.
No.
You don't talk about some of the stuff. Just talking about that and him being on reality TV, which was quite cool. Which other ones have been unique? It's hard to think back. I think Jill Glencross was another good one.
Yeah.
Funeral director. She cried on the podcast. She was the first person to cry on the podcast, which was an interesting one. She does an amazing job.
How did you feel to that during when because that's quite intimate for someone to be crying? How did that make you feel? I know it's obviously got context to what you were talking about, but
yeah. I didn't just like punch her in the face and start crying.
Was it slap?
I didn't really know what to say, to be fair. I can't remember what the context was, which I think she was talking about family or something like that. And I didn't really know what to say, and I can't even remember now. I just remember she was crying, and I was like, this is the best person. I was like, Jill, you're the best person to cry. But I love Jill. She's an absolute legend. That's what I mean. Like, when I say I love these people, like, I never would have spoken to these people if I didn't do the podcast with them.
Yeah, because you're never in a position to sit with just someone.
Yeah, and have a chat with them.
Like,
you know what I mean?
I always think it's like, you might see the same friend group every week.
Yeah.
For years and like know them really well, but you get them in this environment and you actually get to know someone on it's like an elevated conversation. So you immediately have a strong connection network anyway.
And it was funny with the Jill one as well, because I used to send like email broadcasts out, and she replied to one, and she said, "Oh, did you do a podcast with Tracy, who owns the Andalusian in town?" And I was like, yeah. So I organised that, and then when I rocked up, someone answered the door, and I was like, "Oh, nice to meet you," and it was one of her staff members. And I was like, "This is so fucking awkward."
No.
And which other ones have been good? I did one with Zara Oldham recently, second one, Cash for Kids.
Yeah,
the marathon for. I teared up on that one.
Yeah.
When I was talking about my award thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just want to make like my mum and dad proud and stuff. And I was like tearing up, and I was like, that's the most emotional I've ever been.
Yeah. Emotional moment, like I'm proper proud of it. I think with you not being able to collect it and your dad to go in there, it's kind of just a proper nice way to round off.
That is a nice thing. That's what I said in the podcast as well. But yeah, and the one me and you did on the sofa at mum and dad's house, that was a good one as well. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I listened to that.
That
was a chaos that day.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, that was
a good one. But yeah, so many in different ways, you know what I mean? Like, say Brendan's one, going through the workshop like Dusty and that kind of thing, doing the one with Kieran in Dubai, that was quite cool. The one with Jill crying, the one with Zara where I was crying. And then obviously all the ones with you doing the 5 episodes, that's memorable. Got to give Vanessa a shout out as well, probably. They're not unique, but she's been three times. Second most recurring guest, yeah. It's nice to see Vanessa doing well. But yeah, to be honest, they're all special and like unique in their own way. Like, I remember I did one with Dave from Top Dog, and he shared stuff about his family that he hasn't really shared before, which is like really cool and nice for him to share that with me. And like Michael Trotter from Office Technology Corporation, we had a 45-minute chat, and now we've met up multiple times and got like a friendship and a relationship with him. Really, like say Stephen Jobson, who I did the podcast we've signed as a client, and he took the risk on us to do the talking videos.
Yeah.
And now that's all we do, kind of thing. So every single one is like unique in its own way, and like I'm not doing justice by not naming everybody.
Let's go from 1 to 100. Shout out for everybody.
But like I say, that every single one that I've done is unique in its own way.
Yeah,
There's some just memorable ones that I think off the top of my head, but I think I feel bad for not naming everyone now, but I can't hear.
No, but it's on the spot. I think to kind of lead into that, and with obviously 100 conversations, 100 unique moments, which guest, or let's say top 3, if you can get there, would you swap lives with for a day?
Oh yeah,
I'll rule myself out because you spend so much time with me. Basically,
I live your life.
You live my life.
I wouldn't even want to live your life.
I think I've put Adam off. He's seen a day in it's sat working with a real estate agent in Marbella is not as glamorous as Instagram shows it. But I'll rule myself out. So from the other,
that's a good question. Let me just scroll down. Right, let's have a look. So, okay, definitely Sebastian.
I was gonna say I'd probably take Sebastian just straight off the cuff.
So if anyone's
Seb, if you get onto this is our shout out and request that we swap the life of the day.
Sebastian Fernandez, episode number 96. So he's a recent one. I definitely swap my life with him. He seems to be living a good life. Very hard worker. But
yeah, the lifestyle reflects the amount of work gone into it, as I'm sure with every single guest and business owner on it, but Seb is smashing the game.
Him definitely stands out as the main one. I'm just trying to scroll down and see. I think the reason why is because he lives in Marbella.
Yeah. Yeah, fair.
Like a lot of my guests have got really, really good lives, but I just couldn't bother living in the UK.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Seb, straight at number 1. He'll love that. It's like, yes, number 1. Again, winning. Yeah. Just needs to work on his serving paddle. Yeah. All right, we'll put Seb straight at the top then. Obviously, you mentioned before doing the podcasts with Kieran in Dubai. Obviously, you've done a number with me in Marbella. Obviously, a couple in Carlisle, Cardiff. From the locations, I mean, it's not hard to want to be in the sun, but from the locations, what's been your favourite location? Not just in terms of the city, but actually, like now we're sat on the sofa doing the podcast. Where's been the favourite location doing the podcast?
I think that's quite an easy one. That was one of my first ones. It was with a girl called Leah Sachs.
Leah Sachs.
So I remember me and Yoni were in London, in Watford, doing a shoot. This is the first time.
Shout out to Watfords.
Yeah, big Watford, massive. And she messaged Yoni because he'd taken photos of her before a club or something, and he needs to take some headshots of her or something. So she'd hired a studio.
What was this for? Shoot for what?
To get some like she played saxophone, sorry.
Okay. That makes sense.
To get some like headshots or like press shots and stuff like that. So when he was down in London, because he's in Cardiff and she's in London, and then he was like, "Oh, maybe you should do a podcast. I think it should be a podcast because she's like quite shy." So I was like, "Yeah, let's ask her, see what she says." And then she did the headshots like pretty sharpish, and I was like, "Do you want to do a podcast?" She was like, "Yeah, I can do." So then
why not
podcast? And I'm trying to scroll back. So yeah, in like a massive studio, white backdrop, and Johnny recorded it, which makes my life so much easier.
Yeah. Get very stressed with it by yourself. I've actually watched that.
I can't even remember why I had my podcast mics with me, because we didn't record any podcasts.
Yeah.
But yeah, just in the studio, like... So,
just clean. Looks clean.
Yeah. Like on them chairs with the mics.
Yeah.
And Johnny recorded as well.
Yeah, this is me. So yeah, Adam gets very stressed doing anything technical.
Because at the time, I only used to normally do GoPro.
Yeah.
So then you got an actual camera. And that was 6. That's probably my favourite, like, backdrop.
Yeah.
Let's see, but...
What episode was she?
She was episode, like, 13.
13. Unlucky 13.
But yeah, that's probably my favourite backdrop.
Nice.
What else you got on the list?
Got a big list, mate. A lot of questions coming through.
Ooh.
I think...
Just, like, when you limit yourself to the guests, that's why I like doing it. Taking my stuff to
yeah, I think you could almost like as something in the future, depending wherever you're based, that have like do one at home and then one away. So it's sort of like, okay, come to the studio and then go out.
Yeah.
I think I would prefer, as much as it's nice to have a location and be like settled and welcome them in, I think it's cool. Obviously you get to go out and meet people, you get to go and meet them at an office or in their house, or
they're more comfortable like that.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of takes the edge off of them. They're in a comfortable space or in a neutral space sort of thing. It takes some of the edge away. Because it happens so often with technical difficulties, what is your go-to strategy for dealing with it? And what's the most eventful mishap that you can share?
I think the most eventful wasn't that eventful because it was you and Kevin.
Oh yeah,
It was festive period, like January-ish time this year.
yeah.
And I just got my new laptop and I hadn't got this podcast software on there yet. So I said to like Kevin, oh, come round and record a podcast like 6. And then I couldn't for the life of me get it going and get it working. I was just like, this is literally
shambles.
so embarrassing. I felt so bad. And we had to end up recording it the next day. So that was quite embarrassing, but it wasn't too bad because...
Yeah, he's a mate.
He's chill, yeah.
KVB, chill.
But like if that was just somebody else, I would be, so bad. Another one recently that's wasn't embarrassing at the time, but it's embarrassing a bit like after, was when I recorded Sebastian's, because I plugged the fucking microphone into the headphone jack. So his office is so echoey. So like it just picked up the
audio from the camera.
Yeah. And I didn't have my podcast mics with me. I just had the Rode mics. So the audio filter sounded a bit shit. So I wish I'd brought my podcast microphones. That would have made it better. Or just plugged into the right thing. So that was a bit annoying really. But I mean, even though like there is technical difficulties, one with Joe Kirkup actually, the GoPro stopped recording for like about 2 minutes because the memory card corrupted slightly. And believe it or not, out of them 100 episodes, the Joe Kirkup one's the only one that's not had like the full length audio, the visual.
That's pretty solid considering how many.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like, yeah, 1 in 100.
So it's maybe like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Phil like edited over like technical difficulties or something. But yeah, for 100 episodes, we've always
pretty
had
solid.
some form of audio. Like say the Sebastian one and the Michelle audios are a bit shaky, but the visuals, yeah. So that's what I mean. You don't see what goes on behind the scenes, but behind the scenes is more stressful than it looks.
Chaos. Chaos every time. All 5 have been chaos.
I think the most embarrassing would be Kevin's.
Yeah.
If it wasn't Kevin.
Yeah.
I feel bad for saying that because it should be. Yeah. He's special in multiple ways.
He's gonna be listening like, come on, man.
He's an Everton fan, so I love him always.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like I say, I think technical difficulties hasn't actually been that many big ones.
Yeah, and from all the ones that I've been a part of, it's always been.
There's always little.
I think there's always little things, and I think as well, it's always going to be part and parcel of it. You do something once, it doesn't happen again, and it's just overcoming the obstacle in the way.
Another one. Sorry, I should have said. When I got my new camera, I started recording in slow motion.
Yes, this is classic.
But that's what I mean. Just say like Phil works his magic and then speeds it up and matches it with the audio from the microphone.
Yeah.
So it looks sound.
Yeah.
But like you wouldn't know that if you watched it because it just looks normal.
Yeah. And you're the Phil and your magic behind the scenes.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel so bad because
it's in like extra
useless.
work for him.
Yeah. Right. What we got next?
Quite like this one. If you had to interview a fictional character from a movie or a series book, who would you choose and what would you ask them?
Fictional character?
Got to be Ron Weasley now.
You reckon? No, I don't know. I would say like... That's a good question. But like Wolf of Wall Street, he's actually a real person though.
Yeah. Let's start there. I can go with non-fictional. Jordan Belford, the Wolf of Wall Street.
I think that'd be so interesting though. Like when you're entering a business when it's not regulated and you just make so much money out of cheat code for like doing something you've been taught to do.
Yeah.
Like on Wall Street and then doing it. It's like, how can you get in there when it's like all legal? Well, was it the time?
Ish.
Yeah, until he messed it around and stuff. That'd be good because I do love that film.
Mega film, and I think like even I just go back to my sales training back on the ships, and we went all the way back to like his proper training courses, the straight line persuasion, and studied them. So like all that stuff they did after coming out of jail and everything, like the guy is a machine. So even he's went away and done time, and everything that happened with it, the company and his life, that would be a hell of an interview.
And another one, I do actually really like Leonardo DiCaprio in films. Actually, I've never really thought about that until now.
Top actor.
Have you ever watched Catch Me If You Can by Leonardo DiCaprio? Yes. Even like him when he does the things with the checks and stuff. I think that's so interesting as well.
Yeah. That was a true story as well.
Yeah. And then he's helped like the FBI trying to get fraudsters and that kind of thing. I just find it interesting when people find that's maybe not a loophole, that's actually forging the checks, but like stuff like that. I think you're so intelligent.
Yeah, whether it's legal or not, I think just the creativity, the thought process, the intelligence to find loopholes and just create another way that's outside the box completely is,
Who would you pick?
Ooh, I think from like an actual...
It's a hard question though, isn't it? When you put it on the spot.
It is on the spot, but I think I would probably go for, just thinking of like actors and actresses now.
Margot Robbie. Barbie.
And I would probably go for someone like Morgan Freeman, because he's had such a long career. And one of my favorite movies growing up, and it's one of my mum's as well, was Shawshank Redemption.
Oh yeah.
So I think just from coming to the head on the spot, because he's been around for so long, must have met so many people, done so many movies, so many stories. I think he'd just be someone to just sit and listen to and just take gems of life from. So,
yeah, that'd be a good one.
Yeah.
What other questions do you got?
We are on to...
We had about 10, didn't we?
Yeah, give or take. I think maybe we'll wrap it up with, I think we've said this already, but which episode has received the most listens, feedback or engagement? Is it with Christian? No?
Which would mean most viewed or?
Yeah.
Most viewed is Adrian, but I think...
Adrian.
I think the best feedback's probably Jill Glencross.
Yeah.
Because she's so well known and respected in the local area.
Yeah. And what do you think was the reason it got the feedback?
Because she shared it. She's got loads of followers on Facebook.
Really? All about the followers.
But yeah, I think it's like, she obviously does a lot of good for the local community.
Yeah.
And a lot of people know her, respect her, and that kind of thing. So when she shared it, people listened to it and got loads of nice comments, feedback, and that kind of thing, which is nice. Because them kind of episodes are good because you can see she's trying to do good.
Yeah.
She's working hard. It's going to be a bit of a tough time at the moment, from what I've seen on Facebook and stuff. But that one's definitely a good one. But like the Marbella ones get such a good reaction.
Yeah.
Like every time I'll speak to someone and they'll be like, "Oh, I've seen the one you can post."
Marbella. Yeah.
Because people are interested in it. And not even as if like they'll watch it or listen to it, like just see it and be like, "Oh, my baby."
Yeah, it's memorable, isn't it? Like the backdrops and titles, and then another
like,
one in Marbs.
Like seeing the Dubai ones as well, but more so the Marbella ones at the moment.
Yeah,
from people really. So I think the Jill Glencross one stands out most for me personally, just like in the local community and that kind of thing. So that's a good one. So I'm trying to get Jill to do another one, but she's just super busy at the moment.
Come on, Jill. We'll book you in.
That was a good one. She just climbed base camp recently.
You were telling me about this. Super cool. Amazing achievement.
Yeah, she's quite interesting. So Jill's definitely a good one.
I think one, not from what we came in, but questions from me. How did you decide on the name Chatzzz, and were there any other potential names that Chatzzz could have been really close to being? Like, what was the number 2 from Chatzzz?
So I don't know if I've said this before, but Charlie Barkley came up with the name.
Yeah.
So I can't remember what I was going to call it. Honestly, no idea. But I remember because I lived with Charlie. He was the last person I lived with in Cardiff before I moved back. And he was like, "Oh, if you use his name, you owe me money or something." And I was like, I posted the logo. It's like, "You owe me money." I was like, "No."
I've never spoken to Charlie again since.
And it was just basically, at the time, I was like, ads.
Yeah.
It's got 3 Zs. And because it's easy to
That
get...
was his rapper name.
Yeah. Because it's easier to get on social media.
Yeah.
Because I remember, even though I don't have Snapchat, because I think Snapchat's pointless for me personally to use. Another reason why I stopped using Snapchat is because I couldn't get 3 Zs as the username. I had 4 Zs and I hate it.
Yeah.
I think that's like my version of OCD.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, ads with 3 Zs is my thing. So how can I kind of link it in to the personal brand? So I decided Chatzzz. So like Chatzzz. I think Charlie said something like Chatzzz with ads. He's like, Brandon just say Chatzzz.
Yeah.
I was like, Chatzzz with 3 Zs. And that kind of thing. So it's not really like anything crazy, but it's like Chatzzz.
Yeah.
With Z, with a Z, with 3 Zs, because I use 3 Zs. And that kind of thing. I have thought about changing it, but I don't know.
Why would you change it?
Because I feel like that period of my life's done, the 3Z ads, even though it's all my usernames and stuff. Like, say, my limited company is Media ZZZ Limited.
Yeah.
But we trade as CJJ Media, because that's Christian Adam Job Media. So when I set up my limited company 3 and a bit years ago, whatever, I was like, oh, bro, well, if I call it Media ZZZ, it's like ads, chats, because I was doing a few brand deals on TikTok.
Yeah, it flows.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, well, it's Media ZZZ, so it's like ads, chats, and then CJJ. But I was like, oh, at one point I was going to rebrand CJJ Media to Triple Z Marketing.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
But I was like, oh, that sounds shit. But everyone calls it CJJ now anyway. We might change in the future, but I don't know. I won't be bothered. But yeah, that was basically the thought.
Maybe the future of Chatzzz is big chats.
Big chats. You never know. Yeah.
Combination. Dream team.
We said when we come to Marbella, the co-host.
Listen.
Easy.
Promoting.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it basically. Yeah. So nothing too exciting.
No, but I think it's not about being exciting, but it's the origin of Chatzzz of where we're here today on the 100th episode. So
because I think as well, what people need to remember is the name is the easiest thing in the world, but the hardest thing in the world, because it's the easiest thing because whatever you call it, people
so
call
hard.
it. But also you want it to sound cool. You want it to sound weird. So like Big Marbella.
That took a long time to get to Big Marbella.
Yeah. And it's like whatever you call it, people will call it, won't they?
It was, so just, you've I think you can relate to this. I think what finally got me to decide on my branding was at the end, I was like, I like it, and it's very adaptable to how it can be promoted. And at the end of the day, I was like, you know what, I'm thinking of names of what sounds good for other people, what would look good next to what's on the market. I'm like, you know what, no one's going to care if I call it Houses by Henry, which is a really shit name. But so it's about how you feel with the brand and what you can create with it. But the brand name is always the hardest one.
I remember being on the call with you as well.
We had loads. I had loads. I think the first one that I absolutely was like set on after weeks was Marbury, as in Marbella and my last name Berry. Marbury Real Estate or Marbury Properties. And I applied for that one. I couldn't get it because there was something similar, or someone had got Marbury, like Mar-Berry.
Oh, okay.
And in the Spanish system, it's too similar, so I'd have to buy them out to then. And I was like, okay, that's not working. And so then actually the formal company name is the Berry Investment Group, which then breaks down to BIG, Berry Investment Group, Big Marbella. So, yeah.
So what were you just going to call it the Berry Investment Group?
Yeah, I think it was just me called
the URL.
The SL was just the Berry Investment Group. And I was going to go with that as
set the email
trading name. Yeah.
I was like, oh mate, it's just too long.
Yeah. Like it sounded like I still love that, but I think then to condense it to then Big Marbella, like I know what the BIG is. It's like the formal name behind the front of the company with the marketing. Yeah.
It's got a better ring to it, hasn't it?
It's a good ring. Big Marbella.
I remember looking, I was like,
yeah, man, you were crucial to the naming process.
And then we were like, right, let's look at big everything else. Every other city in the whole entire world was taken.
Yeah, it's like big London, big Madrid, big, and it's like Big Marbella. No, done.
That was crazy though, wasn't it? And like literally all the social media handles were free.
Yeah.
Like get them now.
I was literally, Adam literally like set up every possible social media platform, and I was like, so I literally was throwing my bank card at GoDaddy, like buy everything, buy everything now.
But nah,
mental. But no, mate, good.
You were good at that because big Marbella just sounds good.
Sounds good and it feels good, especially now that I'm 6-7 months in.
Yeah.
I think with how everything's gone and just the name just feels good. I'm very much like that's me, that represents what we want to do. So yeah, very happy with it.
Right, let me just double check everyone and we'll wrap it up.
Mate, this cake needs to be cut. It's melting in the lights.
That's so weird. Sub Lives said that, didn't we? Feedback, yeah. Oh no, pretty much been for them all.
I've covered everything. I think maybe one for me, I'll put you on the spot a little bit.
Oh,
pressure. No, if you could change or if you could add anything to Chatzzz, whether it's, I don't know, investment, budget, location, what would be the one thing that you would just love to add to Chatzzz to elevate it to your next level?
Earn some money.
Sponsorship. Okay, Berry.
To be fair though, I did go through a phase, so maybe last year, and I did put a sponsorship deck together. And I was like, right, I just need to earn some money on it. I don't even know if it was to pay for it, or to make money.
Yeah.
One of the two. Well, obviously earn some money from
cover
it.
costs and make it viable.
And then I was thinking, do I really want to have businesses on here right now? And I was like, probably not. And I sent a few out, but nobody showed any interest. And I was like, well, maybe that's a sign of me saying that either one, the business I'm speaking to, aren't bothered, or two, that I shouldn't really be doing this right now. Not that I want loads of money, but it'd be nice to just cover a bit of costs and a little bit extra. So like I say, if I could afford to have somebody to work out logistics and guest booking, that would be so good, because it could be like, right, you can link it to my schedule.
Then it just I think takes off the weight of having to organise it. Whereas if you know, okay, great, Monday you're doing a shoot all day, afterwards you got a podcast, Wednesday you got a podcast lined up, Thursday after a shoot you got a podcast lined up. It's just, yeah,
so that's like a bit of extra money or budget to have someone to organise it better. That makes sense.
idea.
Because
Chatzzz PA.
Yeah, Chatzzz PA. Because believe it or not, it is a lot more work than people think.
A lot of work, guys. So if anyone's out there wanting to offer their services, maybe a student internship, I'll do the shout out for you.
Yeah, go on.
Then send your applications in. Reach out on Instagram.
Yeah, it'd actually be interesting to see if anyone does.
If anyone's interested, put a bit of time. You get to see the behind the scenes, work with an amazing team, build your confidence, explore different areas. It's worth it, and we'll save you a piece of cake that we're about to cut. So,
right,
let's get into it. I've been waiting for this for the last hour to watch this.
Right, so how should we cut it to the video? Do you reckon you pick the camera up and do close up or not?
I'm also, I know Yoni's amazing, but I'm also number 2 on videography as well. Basically holding Chatzzz together behind the scenes.
Right, so let me just get the mic. Right, so 100 episodes. How do I cut it from the front? Oh. Wee. I need to get a little... Is that what you do? I need to get a little flick. So I'm trying not to get it on the new sofa. There you go. Right. 100 episodes on the new rug. And then get one in. There we go. Boom. Okay. Right.
Shocking. That was strong anti-climax to the cake cutting, but it's cut. There's only half the cake on the rug.
Right, everyone. If you listen to any other episodes, thank you very much for listening. 100 episodes is a big milestone. Thank you very much, Henry, for being my most recurring guest.
Yes. Keep me number top, guys. Keep me the top. Don't let Vanessa catch up. Love and support Vanessa, but I'm number 1.
So if you're watching on YouTube, everyone, make sure to subscribe, like the video, comment your favourite part. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, make sure to follow the podcast and leave a 5-star review. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.